All right. Well, welcome to another episode here of the Spurs Rewind. One of your hosts here. I'm Joe Garcia. I'm going to be joined by my counterparts here, which is going to be the one and only Vicky Vic. Hey, Vicky, how's it going?
Hey, good. How are you?
Doing good. And we're going to also be joined by the one and only Josh Paredes, the trick shot master of the universe here. Josh, how is it going?
So many nicknames at this point. I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well.
Yeah. I haven't seen any videos of you lately with your trick shots. I see that the ball did return. It looks like the neighbor's dog gave you the ball back.
Yeah, he threw it over this morning. Well, I usually do those on Mondays, so mini hoop Mondays. I'm going to run out of bounds at a certain point. I'm already on version 8.
Oh, there you go. So I look forward to seeing what you do in this next iteration of Josh Paredes trick shots coming to you on Twitter. In the next couple of days or so. So let's go ahead and talk about the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs finally won an NBA Summer League game, and they have to do it in dramatic fashion as well. So we're going and talk about that. The Spurs, they did win. I don't even know what the score is. I just had it pulled up.
106 to 105.
106 to 105 off of a last second heroics by Tre Jones, as he got a last second steal that all but sealed the game for him. So they wind up getting a win over the Charlotte Hornets Summer League squad. And the star of the game was one Tre Jones, which Spurs fans now are just, raving about. Tre Jones played 28 minutes and 52 seconds, and he had 34 points. He had 9 assists and 8 rebounds. Not a bad little stat line there, So the talk is now among Spurs fans, they're fine with Tre Jones coming off the bench and being the backup point guard. There's some that say we should go ahead and start him right away, because look at this miraculous performance. And I got to say, the kid looked great today. He was doing everything. I mean, he was putting on a show. So, I mean, I love me some Tre Jones. I wouldn't mind him taking Patty's minutes, now that Patty's with the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, it looks like this kid's ready to go. What do you think, Vicky? What did you think about the play of one Tre Jones?
Well, I've always liked Tre Jones. I think that he's always kind of shown what he can do. He's very fast. I think taking the route of saying he should automatically become a starter is just unrealistic because of the fact that look at the other guards who the Spurs have, just experience-wise, capability-wise, he still doesn't stack up against DeJounte or Derek White. So, as a backup point guard, definitely I think it's great to see him kind of solidifying his position in that. I think that last year throughout the season, he saw all those garbage minutes and he barely came out. Now we're actually getting to see him play, even though it's the summer league. And he has experience playing in the NBA because he played last year for a lot of the time because the Spurs were down by, in a lot of games, the Spurs didn't have a chance of coming back. He was usually in. So, I mean, he has experience playing against better players. So in this league, playing against some of these younger guys who it's their first time going up against this higher elite level, it's obvious he's going to shine and, be steps above the rest. He's not going to be scoring 34 points in an NBA game. I mean, that's just maybe he could every once in a while, but it's not like he's going to be a superstar overnight. So I think it's funny that people are kind of just, wanting to hand the keys over to him and just be like, yeah, I'll take it. But I think he was great. He's doing great. He looks really mature. He looks like he's matured a little bit. He looks like he's getting a little more confidence, and I like seeing that. I think because he's one of the mature members of the team, having NBA experience, it's really given him that role, a leadership role, which is going to be great going into this season for the Spurs. But it was amazing. I am surprised by him, but I still think like he'd have to do a lot more to show he's going to be a starter, and it's far away from that, in my opinion.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and pitch to you next, Josh. What did you think about the performance of one Tre Jones in this summer league game? And mind you, it's summer league.
Right. I mean, there's no need to overreact to anything in summer league, but people are going to do it anyways. Like Vicky, I've always liked Tre Jones. Also, I think he's a huge upgrade defensively over Patty Mills, who bless him, but I mean he didn't offer too much defensively, mostly because of his stature, but just his quickness also sometimes could be an issue, but it's mostly because I mean Tre Jones, that's what he establishes himself in at Duke as is being that kind of defender. And what really impressed me was his playmaking in this game. I got to watch the whole thing, so you just see him setting up people left and right. Wieskamp and all those guys, and it was impressive. That's what a point guard should do, and that's why I feel like it's going to be interesting to see what happens with like him and maybe Forbes, who Pop will likely want to be turning to at some points when he wants a veteran or close to a veteran presence out there at this point with this team. So that the one thing to watch for, I would say, would be how many minutes he'll get in the regular season compared to Forbes. Obviously Murray and White have nothing to worry about in that situation, but yeah, I mean, no overreactions here, but I would like to see him get some minutes at the backup point guard at some point to see what he can do. He's earned that at this point.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's come around and is kind of showing his full repertoire. Of what he's capable of doing. Of course, it's summer league action. But I would expect that uh, the display that he put on against the Hornets is going to continue over into the regular season. It looks like he's got the skill set and he's shown a lot of growth and he's ready to be given a bigger role. And more meaningful minutes. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to do this upcoming season. It's exciting, as a Spurs fan, to see that you have a great piece as Tre Jones here. Is he going to be a bona fide NBA star? Probably not, but I think he's going to be a really good asset and a solid role player. Which is something that the Spurs need. For when they do wind up getting an NBA superstar at some point, or maybe somebody emerges. We don't know what's going to happen because it's such a young group right now. So a lot of good things to look forward to as the season approaches.
I mean, it only takes one superstar, right, with all these complementary pieces. Yep. Unless you're the Lakers and you're going for them when they're in their late 30s, but that's a different story. So they're close enough. They're close. Just, yeah, everybody thinks you just need a superstar right away, and you do eventually to win a championship. But there's a process to it. So
yeah, there's levels to this thing.
Yes.
So let's
superstars start at the bottom too. So.
Yep, they sure do. So let's go ahead and talk about some official signings that took place here. Oops, I forgot to put on my, I guess the little capture device that actually shows the screen. So I'm like, okay, I got you nothing. Boo-hoo, my bad. So we'll just go ahead and talk about the official signings that the Spurs made. And that was going to be, they officially signed Collins. They signed Primo. Who else did they sign? They signed...
what's his name? Al-Farouq.
Yeah. They signed... They signed... yeah, they signed Aminu, and they signed Thaddeus Young.
Yes, Thaddeus Young.
Thaddeus Young. The official trades that actually finally went through the sign and trade deal was, of course, the one that everybody had been waiting on, which is the DeMar DeRozan sign and trade officially went through, and that was made official on the Spurs official Twitter page. The only ones that still have not been signed are going to be Landale, and we don't have Forbes signed yet. So we're still waiting on those. Everybody's been saying, oh, the big news of the day is going to be the Spurs officially signed Bryn Forbes.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be kind of funny when it does break, because everybody's gonna be like, yeah, yeah, haha,
Very
he's
Spurs. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You officially signed Bryn Forbes. I'm like, he's part of the team now. I mean, it happens. Expect for
It's
that news to
true.
break. Probably within the next week or so. It's gonna happen, or even over the weekend. So I'm looking forward to the Landale signing. Did they officially sign Landale? I think they did, right?
I
Or
don't
not
know if
yet.
they have any terms
I
yet,
don't think
but
so.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but I know it's going to be coming out soon. So I'm
yeah.
looking forward to them signing Jock Landale. I think he's
Yeah.
actually the one I'm most excited to see, what he's going to be able to do in the context of the game this coming season. To me, he can be one of those really solid players that's a lot of energy and brings a lot of intensity, and I'm looking forward to that. The Spurs have kind of missed that enforcer, on the team. So looking forward to seeing what Jock Landale can do in the upcoming season. Any of the signings, the official signings, excite you, Josh?
I mean, I do like that I mean, I don't know about excited, but I do like that the Collins deal was better than people originally thought. I'm not. I believe it was like half of it's guaranteed or something, and he's going to have to. I mean, he's going to have to prove that he can stay healthy and play up to the contract. So I believe that one was better than people originally thought. Um, I'm a fan of Thaddeus Young mostly because I kind of I work with somebody at Air Alamo that wrote up a big piece about him that follows the Bulls closely, and just how great of a facilitator he became with the Bulls. And he played a very underrated role there, and now he's coming to San Antonio. And I've heard a lot about flipping him for a pick to Phoenix or something, and I think Thaddeus could be a big piece here. He could play a role, with his skill set is not something we really have very much of. So I like him. I hope he does stick around. I don't want them to trade him unless it's something that is packaged for something huge. But I'm not sure I see that happening because I don't think they can trade him until October.
Yeah,
Uh,
if
but
they
yeah, he's
wanted
another
to.
one. Yeah, he's another one that I would want to see what he can do out there. He'd be like a veteran at this point for the Spurs and with their age. So I like those two.
Yeah, we have a comment here from Eric Pacina. He's joining us from YouTube. Thanks for watching, Eric. We appreciate you. He said, "Is there a timetable for Zach Collins?" The Spurs actually did officially sign Zach Collins, and the breakdown was the official contract is they signed him in 2021, 2022. It's 7 million that he's fully guaranteed. The 2022-2023 season, he's fully guaranteed. Well, he's guaranteed 7.35 million. 50% of that is guaranteed. The 2023-2024 season, it's $7.7 million, and zero of that is guaranteed. So there's heavy incentives in this contract.
Yeah,
So this is a safe bet
exactly.
for the San Antonio Spurs. So it's a low risk possibility of high reward for them. I think this is a
Mhm.
great signing for the San Antonio Spurs, and I look forward to seeing what Zach Collins can do this coming season. Vicky, anything like stand out at you with these official signings?
Yeah, I actually am really excited for Zach Collins too. I know, he has the whole injury, like ridden, like scary stuff going on. Hopefully that's done. Hopefully he's done with all of that and able to come back. But I remember seeing him play before all those injuries, and I really did like his pace. I think he's super quick, and I think he'll fit in with the Spurs right now with the way they're trying to be a little bit faster. The way that they had played most of the season last year with that quicker pace, I think he can fit into that really well. And it'll just add a little bit more, like, I guess, more experienced depth to the big guys, even though he's not old, he's not very experienced. But being with the Blazers, I think it was good for him, good for us to have somebody who was on a team with, some great players. I also am really excited about Josh Primo now. I know a lot of people are everyone's on the fence about it. And it's not like I think he's going to be a superstar yet, but I think that he is really talented watching, in a little bit of the games before. So these games, and then there was like the other summer league games. Which ones were these? Are the Vegas ones, right?
Yeah.
And so the Utah games.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just, I mean, I just was really impressed by a lot of the stuff that I was seeing from him. Just his footwork looks very developed for somebody that young. He kind of looks like he could potentially still be growing. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I kind of feel like he could get a little more size on him. And if he does grow taller, I don't know if the Spurs would, try utilizing him as a big. But I really like his athleticism. I'm excited to see where he goes. I know he's kind of been quiet these last few games in the summer league, but he's young. He's 18. I mean, I think there's a lot of potential for growth. And if they can develop him into what they want him to be, I think he could be really great.
Yeah, I think so too. And Eric Pacina, he was asking, health wise, where's the timetable for Zach Collins' return? Because he just came off of a broken foot.
I was looking at it looks like The Athletic was talking about it. He had surgery on the June 29th, so basically July, and the timeline for recovery is 4 to 6 months. So we're looking at, maybe a couple months into the season.
So let's say preseason's October. You would expect him maybe in sometime in mid-December, maybe.
Maybe, yeah, and that would be towards the closer to the 6 month, 5, 6 month area. So, I mean, not too long in the grand scheme.
Yeah. In other words, he ain't going to be starting. He's not with the team in the beginning of the season. They're still going to be rehabbing him, So he's going to be a player that's going to be one of those that they're going to err on the side of caution because let's be honest, look what happened with Derek White. They brought him back, re-injured the same toe again. So it's like,
they'll be very cautious. And plus, we have Jock, man. We don't got to worry about that.
Right.
Yeah. But it is good to have Zach Collins as insurance on the squad. So definitely, let's go ahead and talk about something else here because I just saw something pop up here before we came on the air here, and there was an article that was written by The Athletic, and it was something that was interesting. It says the Spurs can dedicate this season to player development and take max cap room into the 2022 offseason. John Hollinger writes for The Athletic. He says, I love what they did. He says, the biggest winners of NBA free agency. So I guess this is an excerpt from that particular article that you can go ahead and check out on the Athletic. But I think this is something that we've kind of talked about a little bit here, not only on this show, but on the other podcasts that me and Josh do as well. The Spurs have made some really good savvy moves behind the scenes to get players that are on expiring contracts so that they can have some money to go after some free agents maybe next year in 2022. And that, of course, goes along with if they want big names, if they want a bona fide NBA all-star, that also is going to involve maybe doing some signing trades or trading some assets in order to get a bona fide NBA all-star because you have to make cap space, Mm-hmm. So you might have to say goodbye to some of these players that are beloved here. If that is the case, that's the trajectory that the Spurs decide to move on. But what do you think about this, Josh, as far as the Athletic article?
Yeah, I actually got a chance to see it earlier, and it's just like an excerpt from each team, and I'm not sure about best, free agency from all the teams, but it was pretty damn good. Like, and to have someone like Hollinger, who's spent some time in front offices, I think with Grizzlies and stuff, and now he's back with Athletic, say that it's not just like Joe Nobody on Twitter saying that. It's somebody that is respected and knows what he's talking about. So it's kind of what I've been saying. I mean, everybody's been waiting for this time. We're not going to all of a sudden have a superstar that's going to want to come down here.
They don't fall from the sky, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice, but I mean, you could see with the new partnership and stuff, and then we're going to talk about a story later about a new facility they're trying to make. That's kind of on that's like Toronto or Milwaukee is doing. That they're moving forward, they're moving on to a new era, and it's not just going to be immediately 50-win seasons.
Right.
This is what everybody's been asking for. Hand the keys to the young guys, let them grow. Wherever floats, let them float. If they sink, all right, maybe they're on the chopping block.
Mm-hmm.
And there you go. So going to you next, Vicky. I mean, what do you think about that excerpt from that article from The Athletic?
Well, I didn't get a chance to read that, but just hearing that excerpt, I think that's interesting. I don't think that they. I agree with what Josh said. I don't think it was like the best of all of the teams, but I do think they did a good job. And in terms of Spurs, like last, I don't even know, maybe 10 or more than 10 years, this is one of the best off seasons. Oh my gosh, why am I having trouble speaking? This is one of their best. This is definitely one of the best for them in the last many
Most
years.
active, at least, for sure.
Right, most active, definitely.
Nothing.
Right. And so, yeah, I agree. I think they did a great job for themselves, and they're building for the future, just like Josh said. San Antonio's one of those middle, lower market cities that isn't going to attract superstars, like, just wanting to come to San Antonio, but doing things like this, building a solid base for them to feel excited about, a group of players that are good role players, and maybe developing talent within San Antonio. Like, I think that's maybe their intention with Josh Primo, developing somebody who can become top NBA level elitism, or whatever you want to call it. If they can do that and prove that they're a system that develops talent, which they've been doing for years, just solidifying that, and then again adding in that facility, I think that's going to make it a more attractive team than trying to become the Lakers or the Knicks, where it's like, okay, you're in a city that's just going to attract players, those superstar level players. So I think they're taking a cool roundabout way of doing that with this, and this off season was a good example of that. I think it's going to be cool seeing them going forward in the next 5 years or so, kind of doing similar things.
Yeah, so this next topic, we're going to wind up getting into this because I'm going to save the Spurs training facility for the last topic of the day because it's going to be the fun thing that we're going to talk about. So let's go ahead and dive into the rumor that will not die. This thing just keeps coming back to life.
This topic isn't fun for you, Joe?
Man, it's like the cockroach, that's flying around somewhere. You go visit somebody and you just go and smash it with the chancla, and you can smash it 10, 20 times. And then what happens? It just comes back to life, and then it takes flight. And then Vicky's going, ah!
Yes, hiding.
That's what this rumor is. It's like the rumor that will not die. We keep hearing the same thing every couple of days, and I don't know if it's, something that we need to really pay attention to at this point, because when you look at the other variables involved, it's not very likely to happen right away if that's the case. Because with the Amino, that we got the sign and trade with DeMar DeRozan. So we acquired Amino and we acquired Young. What goes on behind the scenes is that you can't really trade these players because you have like a trade embargo, and the trade embargo is finally going to be lifted in October. So if you go ahead and package Aminu and Young in this deal with some other assets, that's really not going to work until October. So I know Spurs fans are enamored with, the possibilities of getting an NBA, superstar, on the team. And I just put something on there, it's like, I just didn't think, in my opinion, that, he would be a good fit, and I think he's just kind of a project player. And what I mean by that is they're like, well, how can he be a superstar and a project player? Well, in big game situations, you've seen what happens. He defers a lot. You don't really want that out of your, NBA superstar. You want him to take those big shots. You want him to put the team on his shoulders and really just change the complexion of the game itself. You don't want him to be able to defer. And the thing is, would you trust him with 8 seconds left on the clock in a tight game? You put the ball in his hand, and the shot, if he makes it, you go to the NBA Finals. Would you trust him enough to really believe that he would knock down that shot, or would he defer to somebody else? And there you go. If he doesn't make it and he defers to someone else and they take a bad shot and it doesn't go in, there you have it. You missed your opportunity. And that's kind of what I'm saying. Yes, we have one of the best coaching staffs in the NBA, and we do have Chip. Chip can go and work with anybody's shot, and help their dynamics in that regard. But again, if you have if you're going to have to give up so many assets and make so much cap space to make this deal work, do you really want to take on somebody like this that needs so much, tweaking? That's my thing. If Spurs fans want the win now mentality and you still got to do all this work, that might not translate into you winning right away. It might be a work in progress, just like we are in a work in progress right now with our young core. Would you rather build for the future, or would you rather work with this player for the win now mentality? And that
Yeah.
kind of started a firestorm on Twitter, earlier today. But Josh, let's go ahead and go to you. What do you think about this Ben Simmons, rumor that will not die?
Well, first, I got to apologize to you because I probably fanned a lot of that stuff this morning,
Oh Lord.
a lot of that talk, because this morning I saw, I help run Air Alamo Twitter, and the Sixers version, their page for Fansided proposed a trade, and they tagged us in it. So of course I looked at it and I was like, "What the hell is this?" And so I I screenshotted it. I put it as my, I just said, this price seems rather high. And basically, this is just, they also quoted Zach Lowe, I believe, saying that, they were a team that was in with some varying level of interest, whatever that means. But they used that as a reason to propose a trade. Perfectly fine. But their trade was Ben Simmons and Shake Milton for DeJounte, Lonnie Walker, Keldon Johnson, 2023 first round pick, 2025 first round pick, and 2022, 2024, and 2026 first round pick swaps. So when you get into that kind of situation where you're basically trading someone that has some known issues and that your team gave up on for like 3 starters and just the entire future of a franchise, that's kind of why I had to, fan the flames a little bit. Bottom line, he doesn't really have leverage, Simmons, anymore. Basically, it's going to be up to Daryl Morey and what he's going to settle for, because they're done. I mean, he's not communicating with them. But at this point, I don't know what the Spurs could offer that would be satisfactory to Daryl Morey unless he significantly comes down to earth and actually looks at um, real a realistic option. He has plenty of teams, I'm sure, that'll be interested. I'm not sure the Spurs are one of them at this point, and I don't really think they need to be. I wouldn't give up Keldon in any situation for Ben Simmons. And as I wrote earlier, DeJounte had very comparable stats to him last season. Of course, he didn't get the All-Star nod because, he's in the West.
Yeah.
But, I'm not saying DeJounte is a better overall player, but he's pretty close. And to just include him as just a throw-in for such a huge package that's what the Sixers are wanting, it's not going to happen. It's not, and it's not even worth it. I mean, DeJounte can shoot. That's a big thing. You're going to want somebody that can shoot on the floor. Maybe Simmons could work with Chip, I'm sure, but the price they're asking, even if it's not necessarily this bad, I hope Morey doesn't think something like this is realistic. It's probably still going to be too much for the Spurs.
I think it's too much for anybody. I don't think realistically anyone is going to give that much of their future or their assets that they've invested time and money in to get Ben Simmons.
Unless they're a poverty franchise.
I hate that term. That's so annoying.
I mean, I guess it's not completely possible, but it's just it's not realistic, and it's not likely ever to happen in the Spurs or with the Spurs. And it's just so annoying. I saw that tweet that you shared, Josh, and I was like, how is this even anyone's idea of something that's possible? Like, if you watch any sort of basketball and know anything about the Spurs, you'd know that this is completely unrealistic. Maybe one of those starters, potentially, even at that, the Spurs have put so much into those guys that getting another guy who's going to start at like the bottom block for the Spurs system, no, there's just no way. And he's not versatile enough. He's not anything enough. I don't understand This annoys me so
Well,
much.
here's the
That that's
thing that
so
the biggest argument among Spurs Twitter is looking at the growth of one. Okay, they like to compare DeJounte and they like to compare Ben Simmons, and the biggest argument here is if you look over the course of what the last couple of years, maybe 4 or 5 years, they're saying at some point they're like Murray hasn't really improved over the last 5 years. It's like has he hit his ceiling? That's what some of the people on Spurs Twitter are saying, and they're like, well, Ben has all these accolades, rookie of the year, defensive player. I mean, that he has a
His
lot
ceiling
more.
is that he's in San Antonio where nobody notices and cares what he's
right.
doing. That's what his ceiling is.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I'm saying that's the argument that's being made, by the Spurs Twitter faithful out there. So
Well, to those people, I would say check his stats. Check DeJounte's year by year stats, and you'll see that he has improved. I mean, he's legitimately improved, and he also was riddled with injuries early on. So it's like, if you're gonna like put that stuff out there, back it up with the like research, check it out. And I'm sorry, Ben Simmons has been pretty consistently the same the entire time.
And it's mostly behind. He's been playing behind LaMarcus Aldridge and DeRozan his whole career.
Yes.
So I mean, now is the time to really see what he's made of, and if he can improve even further or even stay
Yes.
totally the same. He was still great last season. So I see no reason the Spurs would want to just move on from him.
At all.
Even if he has some all Eastern Conference All-Star appearances.
yeah. So I'm not gonna say that this rumor has any merit, and that this might not, in the far realm of all possibilities, could this happen? Yeah, it could, but the likelihood of it happening, I think, is low. So I know that there's a big debate out there with Spurs fans. I mean, it is what it is at this point. The only thing I think we can do to really prepare ourselves is just get ready for the upcoming season and just support the team you have. I mean, it's going to be a season of growth, and like I've said before, I'm okay with losing just as long as we see some of the growth happening with some of these younger players. Some of these players are not rookies anymore, and they need to show something this coming season. I'm looking at Lonnie Walker. I'm looking at Lucas Samanic. You're not rookies anymore. You can't. There's no excuses. You got to show something. Yeah. So I'm just saying. I'm being realistic at this point. I got to see something out of them. So.
Yep.
Moving on here, we're going to go ahead and talk about the new Spurs practice facility that's actually just a stone's throw away from Josh Paredes' trick shot hoop in the backyard. I think he could just jump the fence and get there.
Go do the trick shots there.
I'm gonna pitch that activity over there. I'll install it myself.
Dude, I would go out there and I would actually hold the little hoop on a pole or something.
Hold it for people. Have them dunk on you.
Yeah, like you could do the trick shots out there, welcome the players, and you're there with the headband and your basketball gear doing trick shots.
Like Spirit Squad, yeah.
That would be a primo spot right there. I think you would get some love from the players. And you're like, you could wear the shirt that says Primo Picks.
We got it all figured out, man.
Yeah, but the Spurs practice facility is going to be set up out there on the northwest side over by the shops at La Cantera. And total, the campus is going to be 504,000 square feet. And it's going to be at an estimated cost of $510.8 million. The site is expected to employ more than 1,700 full-time employees, with the expectation it will be used 365 days a year for community gatherings and events. And it looks really nice, from the rendering that we see. They have a really nice area. I mean, it's a really huge facility. And they have a spot that a lot of Spurs fans have pointed out, including our very own Vicky Vic here. And they have a huge screen out there that they're showing in like a little courtyard area, similar to what the Milwaukee Bucks and the Toronto Raptors do, even like, the Golden State Warriors do, where they have viewing parties and all the fans get together and they call it the Deer District over with the Bucks. They get together and they watch the team, and they get to root for the team, and it's just all the fans having fun together. It's a big watch party, outdoor watch party, which is a lot of fun. If that was actually to happen, and that's what the Spurs actually do with this spot that they have out there, what should it be called? That's the question. You'd be like, is it something to do with the Coyotes? Should we name it like Alamo something? I mean, there's a lot of things that are around San Antonio that can kind of fit that moniker there. So we'll start with you, Vicky. If you had an opportunity to name this outdoor area, what would you call it?
Well, I put it on Twitter. I already said it. I got to stick with it. I think it should be called the Corral.
The
I
Corral.
mean, the Spurs, Spurs are worn by cowboys. What do cowboys do? They corral the flocks, the whatever, the livestock. Everyone's going to be gathered together there. They're all going to be corralled together watching the Spurs. I think it should be the Corral. It'd be
Your
so
Coyote
cool.
Corral. Maybe
Oh,
you could
Coyote Corral. That's good. Yeah.
Hey, the Coyote Corral. I can get behind that.
I like that. Alliteration. Always, always helpful.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and go with you, Ben. somebody has a good one. Somebody has a good
on the mind, dude.
Look at this. This guy says Notorious ADD. He says, let's call it the Chancla District. I kind of like that a lot more.
Did you even catch that you called me Ben?
Yes, I did catch you that I called you Ben.
Okay.
Because I was looking at the picture of Ben at this point, Ben Simmons. Sorry, Josh.
Yeah, we can go Simmons Saloon if we get...
Right, the Simmons Saloon.
Maybe a Forbes fan zone or something. No, for real, I would go something Duncan related, honestly.
Cool.
You gotta have Duncan in there somewhere. I haven't thought of an alliteration, Duncan's Den or something. It's something, fundamental. Anything around him would be nice, or something about 21. There's so many things you could go, so many ways you could go with Duncan, but I feel like they do name it something it should be. Or Ginobili, I'll take that too.
or could you name it after Coach Pop?
He probably wouldn't want that, but maybe eventually. Maybe they could have like different areas for each. D-Rob will have one.
Oh man, they could erect statues for the greats.
The Parker parking lot.
There you go. There
Tony
you
Parker
go.
Lot.
The Parker lot.
The Parker lot.
We need to just hire us.
I think we need to hire some people to come up with some names, Vicky. Yeah, but
I'm excited.
Yeah, either way, I'm excited about this because the practice facility that they have now is kind of small when you look at it. It's behind a big office building, which is it's just nothing but health medicine doctors. It's like a little building that's like a stone's throw away. It's not very big, and it's just sports medicine doctors that encompass that whole office space there. And of course, there's a tunnel or something like supposedly, with the Spurs players can go underground and come see the doctors because they have hand specialists, foot specialists, back specialists, everything they specialize in sports medicine. But you can see because I had to go because I sliced my thumb, so I had to go see the hand specialist way back when to make sure that I could still move my thumb. And yes, made a full recovery. But when I was up there in the office, I could see the Spurs practice facility from where I was at, and I was like, this place is kind of small. And then I could see the little green space that they had there. I'm like, okay, so this is where they shot the HEB commercials, I'm like, it's kind of tiny, So now that you have this legit space out there that's humongous, it's great not only for the Spurs and the players, because now, hey, if maybe some free agents come a calling, to San Antonio and they want to show them something, they can show them the state of the art practice facility and they'd be like, hey, I kind of like this place, But more importantly, it's something that the players and the coaching staff is going to be able to utilize, and also the community, which I think is a nice touch. They could have community gatherings there when it's safe to do so, and they could do some pretty cool stuff. I think this area would be a lot nicer to hold like some events prior to the season opening. Like pep rallies or watch party events or something. I would pay money to go there and watch this. It looks like they have a lot more room than they do at the AT&T Center right now. So
yeah, I mean, from the diagram, it looks great, and there's also plenty around here. Like there's the block, which is a bunch of food trucks, outdoor dining, and getting drinks. They always have stuff going on there. Right. And my house is always open to people. So yeah, it's going to be very exciting. I can't.
So are you saying we're going to have a watch party at Josh's house? I'm down with that.
Yeah, eventually.
We can have the little trick. We can do some trick shots.
No, I need multiple attempts for those.
Oh, we need to get Vicky a trampoline, and she's going to do trick shots.
You're gonna have to send her to the facility, get treated after that.
I'll hold the hula hoop for you, Vicky, so you can jump through it. That
One
would be
thing
a
I did,
that would be a video for you to put up, Josh.
So
yeah.
good.
Oh, that would go viral, I think.
Especially if
Um,
she's wearing like a coyote hat or something,
I feel
no.
like big on my head.
Oh, I did want to just read a tweet that I enjoyed from that whole, when the news broke about the facility. You know how there was a lot of people talking, we've had 2 seasons where we lost and we might go to Vegas. And
Oh,
there's somebody I enjoy on Spurs Twitter named Valerie Maldonado, and she shared, this story, and she put, I'm not familiar with San Antonio. Is Vegas near the northwest side? It's kind of, I love that tweet, just making fun of the people that, yeah, it was very good. It blew up a little bit. So I
Yeah,
just think that kind of sums it up. Like the Spurs aren't going anywhere, and they kind of proved it by they're not going to just invest 500 million for, going to Austin or something if they're going to do this. So it's a great sign and great for me.
yeah, I'm
yes.
excited.
I read one of the articles. It might have been the KSAT one. At the end, someone said that the general counsel for Spurs Sports and Entertainment was asked if this meant the Spurs were here to stay in San Antonio. And as I read that, I was like, who asks that question? Obviously, if they're spending millions of dollars to make this amazing facility, they're planning to stay in San Antonio. I just thought it was so silly that somebody would ask that. And I'm really excited about it too. I think that it's going to be a great selling point for free agents, like you said, Joe, and also for incoming talent. Like, if they see this and, it's like we invest so much in our community and in our players having this amazing cool space, it's going to look really cool. And it's being touted as like one of the best facilities in all sports. So, I mean, if it lives up to all of that and it ends up looking like it does and all the concept art, it's going to be incredible and do really good things for the Spurs. So I'm excited. I can't wait until they're done.
Now you have a nice spot to still sport your Patty Mills jersey, Vicky.
Yeah.
I'm serious. At some point, we're gonna have to round up the crew and go to this Spurs versus Nets game.
Oh, for sure.
That's gonna be something special. I just don't want Vicky near me because she's gonna make me cry because she's gonna start bawling as soon as they show Patty come out on the court.
The tribute video, yeah, it's gonna be.
Yes.
I'm gonna be crying.
He might tear up on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna be crying by association. I'm gonna tell you, don't look at me. Don't look at me.
Ugly cry.
Ugly cry.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and bring the show to an end. But there's a lot of things that we kind of touched on. I know Paul just recorded a new episode of the Spurs Cast, and they just released that, so you can go ahead and check that out over at projectspurs.com. And I know that one of the things that they had a breakdown of the topics that they were talking about. They were talking about NBA, official agency moves, and they were going to be talking about the Vegas Summer League. So you can go ahead and check that out. It was just released today, so make sure you go to projectspurs.com to listen to the latest Spurs cast by one Paul Garcia. And before we go ahead and end the show, I got to go ahead and give props to our sponsor here, DraftKings. So I'm going to go ahead and read this real quick for you guys, because we got to pay the bills and keep the lights on here with the Spurs Rewind show. So let's go ahead and get started here. Okay, the games are underway, and DraftKings is bringing you the podium. DraftKings is free to play pools are available every day. Because we had the games of the Tokyo Olympics that just passed us by right here, and they were offering a free shot of up to $50,000 in total cash prizes. That's up to $50,000 up for grabs, and the best part, it's free to play. DraftKings free to play pools are easy to enter. Just download the DraftKings app. Go to pools and choose from a wide variety of free contests for an opportunity to win cash prizes. All you have to do is answer a handful of questions around what you think is going to happen during that day's events and track your results throughout the evening to see if you will achieve a victory. Questions will range from medal count, because you were watching the Olympics, you could have done that for the medal count questions to the specific teams, USA teams, okay? And DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable, so you can deposit and withdraw your money at your convenience. So make sure you go and download the top-rated DraftKings app now and use the promo code TBPN when you sign up to get your free shot of up to $50,000 in total cash prizes every day. And head to DraftKings Pools page, the DraftKings Pools page, to get your shot at huge cash prizes. The code again is TBPN for a limited time only at DraftKings. So thank you to DraftKings for sponsoring the Spurs Rewind. And as we bring the show to a close, Josh, do you have anything you'd like to, let us know that you're working on as far as your articles coming up for Project Spurs?
Yeah, so I'm still just doing the same old stuff I do. I kind of tear apart people's horrible trade ideas. I like to just keep track of the summer league. I was actually listening to the last Spurs cast. I started it, and they were just recapping all the latest transactions. Paul Garcia is always on top of it and knows, what the Spurs are going to do before they are. So definitely a shout out to Paul Garcia. Follow him. I'm sure everybody is by now.
If they're not, they should be.
Yeah, they should be. Paul Garcia, NBA, I believe. And Michael DeLeon is on that episode as well. So I'm probably going to finish that pretty soon here. As far as my own work, the latest one I did was ripping apart that Sixers trade. But I did have to go easy because the guy that wrote it is within my umbrella company. So I just had to. I was just like, he's normally good, but you might have just missed the mark on this one a little bit. But for all that, just go to @Josh810 on Twitter. Like you said, I'm posting dunks in my backyard, my bloopers where I throw the ball over the fence on accident, Air Alamo articles, Project Spurs articles, and just Spurs stuff in general. So @Josh810 on Twitter.
And there you go. And Vicky, where can they follow you on social media?
On Twitter as well, @TheVickyVix, TheVickievix.
And there you go. And anything else coming up in the world of Formula One racing that you need to let the viewers know about?
They're actually on their summer break right now, summer racing break. I can't remember what they call it, but they're going to start up again in September. I can't remember which weekend. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a really crazy, there's a big rivalry stuff going on right now between Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, so hoping Max can take the championship this year, but we'll see.
And there you go. So if you're a Formula One fan, make sure you go and follow Vicky so you can go ahead and talk about Formula One sports, because Vicky's all about that, apparently. She wants to go ahead and suit up and get in the car and drive it,
Yes, I would.
It'd be more like Mario Kart, Vicky. Let's be honest.
Throw banana peels.
Throwing banana peels and turtle shells, Yeah. And she'd probably want to wear tiara too, so... All right. So for Josh Paredes and Vicky Vic, I'm Joe Garcia. Thank you for watching another episode of the Spurs Rewind. And like we always say, spread the love, stop the hate, and be kind. We're out. Peace.